Hello everyone, my name is Marley and welcome to my new YouTube channel. This is my first video, so sorry if it's kind of rookie material. Sorry if it's kind of bad lighting, all that stuff, I'll figure it out. But anyways, with everything going on in the world right now with self-isolating and things like that, just thought I'd take the time and do something more creative with my time, start this YouTube channel. So anyways, what I'm going to do today is talk about some of the books that I've been reading so far this year in 2020. It's sort of like a wrap up for like the first couple months, and then maybe from now on I'll do monthly wrap ups, which are popular in the booktube community. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first book that I read in 2020 was actually The Toll by Neal Schusterman, which was the third and final novel in the Arc of a Scythe series. I have to say the hype for this series was definitely warranted. I heard a lot about it within like the booktube community, so I thought that I would give it a chance, and I have to say it really blew me away and probably became one of my personal favorite series that I've read. I would also probably recommend it to pretty much everyone, no matter what kind of interest you have in books. First book is called Scythe, the second one's Thunderhead, and the third one is The Toll. It's sort of like a utopian / dystopian type of series, and the plot is the most impressive thing about it. I think I tend to be someone who prefers more of like character-driven, relationship-driven stories, but the plot in this is what really impressed me and really makes the series so good. And the series does have good characters and good relationships as well, but it's really the plot and how the author manages to intertwine so many things and sort of just comment on like humanity. I finished the series like a while ago, so I won't get into like details because it's a little fuzzy, but basically like I would recommend this to everyone, especially if you're into like all those dystopian novels that were trendy like a few years ago. The next book I read this year I actually have physically. It's The Trials of Apollo by Riordan, aka the author of all the Percy Jackson series. For those who don't know, this is like another series which takes place in the Percy Jackson world with Greek gods, Greek mythology, and all of that. This is book 4 out of 6. Obviously, I loved it, of course. I love all of Rick's books. I have to say, I've read like all of them. However, they are technically more like middle grade books, like more, I don't know what the age is exactly, like 10 to 12 or to 14 or something, and I am 23, so it's kind of not recommended for my age group, and normally I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I started reading Percy Jackson at age I think when I was in 8th grade, so like 12, and I find that, you know, even though I've gotten older, I've still loved his books. However, this was the first one that I did find myself sort of feeling old while reading it and feeling like maybe I was a little too mature to be reading these. However, I still really enjoyed it, and I'll still continue to read them even as I get older. I think in this book particularly, Apollo's growth is really shown, and it's really nice to see. His friendship with Meg is adorable. Plus we got to see some new characters too. I will say this book I think is gonna be 5 or 6, and I do feel like it's sort of dragging on a little bit. Like I feel like this could have been one of his series that was a trilogy. Sometimes he makes some trilogies, sometimes longer. I think this one actually could have worked as a trilogy. I feel like we've kind of done everything there is to be done. But yeah, I would recommend all of Rick's books, including Trials of Apollo, if you want something like fun and if you're into all of the Greek mythology stuff. The third book I read so far this year in 2020 is The Unexpected Everything by Matson. This is the second book I've read of hers. The other one was Since You've Been Gone, I believe. And I do think it takes like a certain type of person to like this. It's not like The Toll or like the Scythe series that I'd recommend to everyone. This is more like for a certain type of person that really likes more of like a basic storyline, like more of like there's a girl and it's her summer vacation and she has her friends and her guy she falls for, and there's more of like your typical drama. So I would count myself as one of those people. I do like cheesy, not as creative stories like that as well, but definitely don't read this if you're not into that kind of thing. I did enjoy this book. I just wouldn't say it was one of my favorites at all. But if you're into like contemporary like teen books, you'd probably like it. I mean, you've probably already heard of Morgan Matson. I'm gonna try and read more of her books probably. Even though I didn't love this one, like I still enjoyed it enough. I'll probably read her other ones. The next book I took on reading was History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. So I finally decided to join the Adam Silvera train, getting on board here like the rest of the internet. I want to read probably all of his books or most of them. I just sort of chose History Is All You Left Me randomly. I in my head thought it was his first one, but it's not. I think it's like his second or third. I have to say I honestly wasn't that amazed by this book considering like the hype there is around it, which I think is probably an unpopular opinion considering the stuff I've heard about it, and I think that's why I had such high expectations going into it, and that's why I was ultimately let down. Looking back, I do maybe think it's a better book than I originally thought, but like I just remember being sort of put off by the main character Griffin, which is maybe sort of wrong of me because he is going through a lot in this book. Like if you know the plot of it, like he's going through a major loss of losing like his first love, who is also his best friend, but I just found the character to be sort of annoying. I don't want to sound rude, but how I mentioned how I thought it was his first book, like one of the reasons I thought that was just because of the writing. And when I heard it wasn't his first book, I was like, oh, I thought it was, and that's why it was written like that, but it's not. It's just his style, which I'm sort of getting used to. But yeah, I still think it was a really unique story. It had good representation of the LGBTQ plus community. There was multiple gay characters, which I think is really cool because I haven't read too many books like that. And also good rep for mental illness. Griffin, the main character, is suffering from OCD, which I found very interesting to read about because I think the first time I realized this was in a different book, but I realized he has an obsession with even numbers, and one of his compulsions is counting to like an even number. And it's interesting because I remember doing that in my life. I don't do it anymore, but I went through a phase where I did that, so it was very interesting to like read about a character that's going through that. It's something that I could relate to. I would recommend it if like maybe you're a part of the LGBTQ community, or you also suffer from some sort of like OCD, counting compulsion, or if you're into like romance, contemporary stuff. Next, I moved on to More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. As I said, I'm making my way through his books, and this actually was his first one. I have to say I did enjoy it more than History Is All You Left Me, which might partially be because I'm more adjusted to like his writing style now, or because I lowered my expectations of his book, whichever. This again has a lot of great gay representation, although that might be a spoiler, but we hear about this memory erasing surgery throughout the book, even though it doesn't focus on it at first. So I kind of like figured we were gonna get into some sort of like memory wipage, but I have to say what actually ends up happening did surprise me. Like it was a twist. So overall I did find the book to be very enjoyable, very moving, and I found it to be quite realistic as well. So if I were to recommend either one of these Adam Silvera books, I would definitely recommend More Happy Than Not over History Is All You Left Me. But overall, I'd probably recommend both. So, and for my final book that I've read so far as of March 2020, is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, who is my favorite author. She's wrote all of the Shadowhunter books, which you can see on the back here. So The Mortal Instruments, Infernal Devices, and Dark Artifices. This is her fourth series within the Shadowhunter world, The Last Hours. Just wow. I love this book just as much as I love all of Cassie's books. To start, there's a ton of characters in this series. I feel like more than in any of her other series. So it did take me a little while to kind of wrap my head around each character, get to know their names, their characteristics, and also like remember who they were related to in the back of my head. So it did take me a little while to figure that out. And it was really nice to have a lot of new characters along with a lot of familiar ones from the Infernal Devices series. Those who don't know, the Infernal Device characters are the parents of the kids in this series, so there's a lot of connections there. Two characters I enjoyed the most would probably be Matthew and Anna, who we actually had short stories about before, so I knew going in what the characters were, like sort of their background, and it was interesting that they were more of like the side characters in this book. It definitely helped to have read the short stories from, I think it was Ghosts of the Shadow Market. I thought that was very helpful to kind of have insight into this book. I think that it's really impressive how Cassandra Clare continues to write these books in the same world but yet make them so different. Like this one is focusing a lot more on demons, whereas other series, like her last one, focused more on fairies, I would say. So like it's interesting how she has all of these unique ideas within the same world, which is really cool. I don't want to get into too many spoilers of this book. Just know that I would definitely recommend it to anyone that's into fantasy, but obviously start with the rest of this Shadowhunter Chronicles first. Like this is the newest one, start with the first one. And just as a little thing, I just want to say that I really ship Matthew and Cordelia, and I feel like I'm the only person. Like any other reviews I see, Cordelia is being shipped with James, which is obviously more of like the main ship, but I just want to put it out there, I ship her with Matthew more. I did since literally their first interaction. Just want to put it out there, if anyone else is feeling the same way, let me know. I'm surprised like no one else is shipping that with me, and I don't know, I just think that James, I don't want to give away spoilers, I just feel like James is like so much drama, and like I know that's the point, like there's drama going on, but it's just too much drama, and I feel like Matthew is like really sweet. So that's just my 2 cents about that. But anyways, I don't know when the next one's coming out, but I'm really looking forward to it. This book ended like with some conclusions, some that were good actually, but also with some cliffhangers, so I'm really excited for the next ones. So that's probably it for now. Thanks for watching, whoever decided to watch. This is my wrap up of what I've read so far in 2020. I'll try and continue to do more wrap ups because I should have a lot of time to read, staying inside as the world is going crazy. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more book content or whatever content I'm gonna end up making. Okay, bye.